Assalamualaikum, good day and welcome to ADS510 Global News. With me is Nurzaifah binti Ahmad Fikri.
And I'm Nushaira binti Amran. Today we'll be dissecting a fundamental theory in international relations known as realism.
Before we dive deeper, what exactly is IR? International relation is the study of how nations interact with one another on the global stage. Today, our focus is on realism. It's a classic theory that views the world as an arena for endless competition.
The theory of realism was widely popularized by the prominent political scientist, which is Hans J. Morgenthau, back in the 1940s. Especially after the devastating experience of World War II, Morgenthau believed that international politics is mainly driven by the struggle for power and survival among nations. According to him, countries will always prioritize their own national interests above everything else, even if cooperation seems possible.
At its core, realism heavily revolves around two important elements, which is power and national interest. In simple terms, power refers to a country's ability to influence or control others, whether through military capability, economic strength, political influence, or strategic alliance. Meanwhile, national interest refers to a country's main priorities, such as protecting sovereignty, maintaining security, and ensure economic stability for its people.
Next, realism operates on the belief that our world exists in a state of anarchy. However, this does not mean chaos or disorder like many people assume. In international relations, anarchy simply means there is no central world government or higher authority powerful enough to fully control sovereign states.
As a result, every country must rely on itself for protection and survival. This idea is known as self-help. Since nations cannot fully trust others to guarantee their safety, they often strengthen their military force, improve economic power, or form temporary alliances to protect themselves from potential threats.
In a realistic world, conflicts are often viewed as neutral and sometimes unavoidable because every nation constantly seeks security, affluence, and survival. Unfortunately, when one country becomes stronger, military neighboring countries may feel threatened and respond by strengthening themselves too. This situation is known as the security dilemma, where attempts to improve security can intentionally create tension or conflict. For its military and economic strengths are considered the ultimate keys to a nation's survival. Countries with stronger resources and influence tend to have greater power in shaping international decisions. This is why major powers such as the United States, China, and Russia often compete to expand their influence in global politics.
So, overall, realism teaches us that international relations are highly competitive, where states prioritize survival, security, and national interest above idealism. In this perspective, peace can exist, but often through a balance of power rather than complete trust between countries.
For more on this, we go live to Izan on site.
Thank you, Zarifah and Shida. If you look back at a modern history, realism was widely on a display during the Cold War era between the United States and the Soviet Union. Today, it is a most striking manifestation in the ongoing Russian-Ukraine conflict. Serve as a classic textbook example of realism. They act aggressively to protect their own national security interests and expand their regional influence. completely bypassing international law. This approves the realist claim that a nation will always prioritize. The proof the realists claim that a nation will always prioritize their own survival above all else. Thank you.
Thank you, Izian. Now here's our geopolitical expert, Sue.
Thank you, Shida. Realism is deeply rooted in the pessimistic physiological view of thinker like Thomas Hobbes. So Hobbes view like a human nature as inherently selfish, competitive and power-seeking. So realists believe that this flawed human nature is directly translated into the behavior of nation-state. Just look at the foreign policy of the United States. Why does the US military base maintain all around the globe? Of course, it's through the lens of realism. It is to safeguard their national security and maintain global dominance. So it is the same logic behind the survival mechanism of military alliance like NATO, NATO.
Thank you, Tim. Now, how does the theory of realism impact the study and practice of international relations? Let's break it into the two perspectives. On the negative side, realism is heavily criticized for focusing too much on power and conflict, while completely ignoring morality and global ethics. It also neglects the massive role played by non-state actors like UN and NGO, and struggle to address borderless global issues like climate change. Critics argue it is outdated for today's highly globalized world. On positive side, however, realism provides a highly practical emphasis on national security. Its prompt will lead to make rational, objective and calculate decisions. Furthermore, they encourage a clear balance of power, which ironically often prevent the major global war from breaking out.
In conclusion, even as the modern world evolved, the theory of realism remained an essential compass for understanding why countries prioritize power and survival over all else.
And that's wrap up our special report for today. From all of us here at the ADS510 Global News Teams, thank you for watching and have a great day.